Hold on. Can you grab me one? Stairs?
Hi, my name is Adrian Aragon.
Crank it
I'm here with
upstairs.
Xavier Luggage, a photographer. We're in California right now, Los Angeles specifically. How are you doing today, Xavier?
Doing good, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. So, what brought you out here to Los Angeles?
Money.
Money? What about opportunity? Was there
Yeah.
any opportunity for that? What kind of opportunity were you seeking out here that you weren't getting in Miami?
I'm getting a lot more jobs than I would get in Miami. In Miami, there's not really like jobs for the creative side of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you could do like bathing suit photo shoots for brands and maybe some stores that sell shoes and whatnot, but nothing bigger than that, you know.
Mainly
like,
just like commercial work?
yeah,
Yeah.
commercial work.
Yeah. So, Gary was telling me about a little bit about your past. You come from Chile, and then you mentioned earlier before that you moved to Colombia. Let's talk about your childhood before coming to the States. What was that like?
I grew up in Chile. I was born over there, and I moved to United States when I was 13. At 11, I moved to Colombia, and I lived there for 2 years until I was 13, and then I came to America. So I got here in 2007 in 8th grade.
Okay. You talked about being raised Buddhist and how you practiced Buddhism growing up, and then you moved to Colombia and started going to Catholic school. What kind of impact has religion had on it? What's your view on religion?
Um, I grew up Buddhist, and then when I moved to Colombia, I went to a Catholic school, and they were teaching me like Catholicism, and then I would get in trouble at that school. And when you get in trouble, they make you go to these old people houses to like take care of them or like help out or whatever, like community service kind of thing, you know. And then they sign your paper, and then you bring it the next day, like, oh, I did it. And I would go to this old people house, and there was this old guy that just like was like he used to just study religion, you know. And he would talk to me about religion and the Quran and like how every religion has a Jesus or multiple Jesus, you know, that they all had kind of like the same story, but in different parts of the world with different cultures and stuff. And I just kind of like started making my own deduction of just everybody wants to believe what they want to believe, but it doesn't necessarily mean that is the truth, you know? I don't think anybody knows the truth, really, you know? If there is even a truth, that the truth might be just something that it doesn't exist, you know? So, my take on religion, and I might get a lot of haters for this, but I don't fuck with it. I think that it's dumb. I think a lot of wars start because of religion. Religion, it creates a lot of division between people and cultures and things like that. And that's how I feel about religion. Yeah, I just think it's unnecessary in today's society to follow something that we believe that is there.
Do you necessarily believe like in a God? Like, do you not at all?
I don't believe in anything.
You don't believe in anything? Do you think religion has any type of like influence on people in terms of like creating like values, like instilling values with that, with like in?
Sure, I mean, if you want to use religion as an excuse why you would teach values to your kids, sure, you know what I'm saying? But I don't, like, I'm not religious. I'm definitely teaching my kids values, you know, like respect, whatever, you know, like don't lie, things like that. That's like human decency, you know what I'm saying? It's things that are like the principles of being a human, of being a good person, you know, just be a good person. That's it. Learn values, but doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be attached to a religion for them to be, you know?
Yeah.
Like religion causes a lot of wars, but for some reason nobody attaches the negativity to religion, only like the positive things,
Absolutely,
you know?
yeah. Do you think that the religious upbringing you had growing up has has had any effect or influence on you now? Does that go towards any of your work or anything?
I guess so. I guess not only the religion part of it, but also just I grew up in the streets in South America. Like I was poor, you know? So it made me like street. Like I used to hang out in the streets all the time, you know? And it just made me like more like aware, I guess. And um I feel like coming to America and realizing all the things that I was being put in South America, I didn't have to live them. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't. It made me. I would say like it made me like a rebel. You know, like at first telling my dad that I was like, yo, I don't like. My dad would push religion on me, and I'd be like, yo, I don't believe in God. Like in 8th grade, you know. Like I'm like, yo, I've been through hell before I got to America, you know? And like, where was God through all that? Like, why didn't he have my back? You know, why would he put me through all that stuff, you know? And then I feel like it made me a rebel in the sense of like, I used to tell my dad that I didn't believe in God and like I wasn't religious or anything. And that would break my dad's heart, you know? But it made me like stand up for myself and like believe in what I wanted to believe and just being a rebel, I guess, like to my family. But then that grew on its own way to who I am, you know, like I guess in my pictures and stuff, like I don't do the conventional like pretty things or whatever. A lot of my stuff gets taken down or whatever because like same reason, like I don't want to follow whatever rules I have to follow, you know. I make my own decisions and my work expresses what I feel, not what I want to cater or whatever, or what is acceptable or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in that way I feel like being not against religion, but just not with it, like the easy way, I guess, to follow. It made me like do that with other aspects of my life, you know.
A lot more Hispanic artists that are being pushed up and they're being in the spotlight now, as opposed to like you can put it maybe like 10 years ago, like you wouldn't see a lot of Hispanic graphic designers, Hispanic musicians, like underground musicians, and then photographers like yourself being put into the spotlight. What do you think about that?
I think it's a good thing. I yes, I'm Hispanic and everything, but I don't make it a thing to I don't know, like I see myself just as everyone else is, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, for sure certain opportunities come to like more guys and girls or like people with white skin versus black skin and stuff like that. I completely agree. But I don't think for me it has been something. I never want anybody to look down on me or give me opportunities or whatever because of like me. Like I'm not the reason I learned English so fast was because of that, because I didn't want people to feel sorry for me. I didn't want people to, oh, he's poor thing. Like I'm like disabled in a way, like I need help, like I don't, you know what I'm saying? So that pushed me to learn English, and I feel like that thought of not wanting people to look down on me or find any excuse for people to like hand me things or whatever is why I don't like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm Hispanic, like we're putting on for the Hispanics. Like nah, like if you're raw, like it's gonna be a thing, you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't matter where you're from, you know, like there's millionaire rappers, there's millionaire fucking reggaeton artists, there's millionaire they're from every culture because they're raw. They're not worried about like, oh, I'm Hispanic, like people are looking down on me, like I'm a minority. Like nah, fuck that shit, you know. Like work go as hard as anybody else goes hard, you know. That's famous, you know. Like if they're rich and famous, it's because they went hard and they did what they had to do. It's not just one culture that's famous and rich, you know what I'm saying? From every culture somebody's rich and famous. That could be you too. You just gotta go in, like stop making excuses. Like for sure there's more advantages in certain aspects, you know what I'm saying? Like yeah, definitely like white people have more advantages and whatnot, for sure. But that doesn't mean like that if you went hard, that's not gonna happen for you too, you know what I'm saying? Like yeah, sure, we may have it a little hard, whatever, but yo, Hispanics, let's go hard, you know? Like we got it on us to go hard. Let's all go hard and be raw, you know? We could all be at the top. It doesn't have to be rare, you know? It's not that they're just giving me the spotlight. I just went hard. I stand out. Like my photography, I never posted myself. Like, oh, look at me, I'm Hispanic. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. No, fuck that shit. They don't care what race I am or anything. They fuck with my work. That's what people like me for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that's what we should focus on just like fuck anything that you could use as like a leverage for you to like get help or whatever. Now fuck that shit. Work hard, get raw, practice, become obsessed with your craft. Do it 1,000,000 times a day if you can for a whole year. Shit's gonna start happening.
And this goes with anything that you want to do.
With anything, you know? So like I never really cared to look at it like that, like, oh, I'm Hispanic, I'm an immigrant from another country. Like, yeah, I am, and I'm fucking raw for being where I am, not even knowing English a few years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
It's a big step. You got
so
a lot
that
to get
shows
here.
that
Yeah.
like, bro, anybody could do it. If I could do this shit, you could do it. You know what I'm saying? I just busted my ass. You know, I went hard, you know, and I didn't put no excuses or nothing. And then I'm still going hard. I don't think I'm anywhere near where I want to be in my career and my life. You know what I'm saying? That just means I need to work harder. Not because I'm Hispanic, not because like this, you know. I might get a lot of hate for this, honestly, but that's how I feel. I feel like anybody that just busts their ass is gonna
succeed.
Right?
Yeah, no,
We're in
it's
America.
with hard work comes with the what you receive is a lot greater.
Exactly. You put in the time, you put in the effort, you put in the work. It's a matter of time.
Yeah. You mentioned you mentioned earlier about like when you take photos you want to break the rules. I want to get a little bit deeper into that. Why do you feel the need to like your photos are they can be provocative, they can be disturbing. You have photos where there's like where I think Enzo's getting like his teeth punched out or vice versa, he's punching out someone's teeth. Like why do you go towards that certain style? Why do you want to?
I don't think it's like a premeditated thing. I think that's just the way my brain is. And when I think of ideas are like, they're just like my original ideas, you know, like what I feel like I like, you know. And I definitely like creating some sort of shock value for sure. You know what I'm saying? Some sort of like, people are looking and they're like, what the fuck? Like they don't necessarily have to agree with it, you know, or even like it. The fact that they're just like seeing it and being like, what the fuck is this? You know, like I like that. I feel like that's the point of creating art. That's not the only point, but like that's the point of creating art, is to like make somebody feel something, you know? Yeah. I feel like it's not premeditated to be a rebel. That's just like, I guess, automatic what triggers my thought of creativity, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you feel like when you do like commissions for like bigger brands that you feel like you have to tone it down a little? For sure.
1,000%, yeah.
So when you're doing like your own work, or if you're working with like a smaller model, or with someone that's more like that's like giving you more like power in the photo shoot, are you just gonna go you just go all out with that? You're not holding back, I'm assuming.
Usually if it is gonna be something that I'm creative directing, we discuss it like with time before. We have like an idea in mind that we're going straight up for, you know. It's not like a freestyle that I'm getting there and I'm just popping out ideas left and right, which it does happen, but for the most part we go with like a shot in mind, you know. For the creative ones, they usually give me the shots that they want, that they have in mind, you know, and then I just go based off like a shot list, you know.
And what kind of media influences like your art? Like I've seen like some Matrix stuff, like the one with the like the teeth punched out reminds me of like Fight Club. Like what forms of media influence your work?
Honestly, I guess lately movies, but just like I just kind of been like recreating and using as inspiration. But for the most part, like I guess lately it has been influencing my work in some that I'm like shooting things that are like in the movie. But before, movies would inspire me on some, like I would see something and just like, you know, when I think of inspiration, I like to put myself in the shoes of the artist that created it, and then I try to put like what were they feeling at that moment? What were they trying to like express with this? You know, like what emotions, what did they go through the day before that, or the day of that they decided to sit at night and paint that or whatever, you know, like you put yourself in those shoes and then you find the inspiration that they found, you know, like if they broke up with their girlfriend, then you're like, oh shit, that's why this is painted like this. How would I feel if I was in his shoes, broken up with my girlfriend, bam, and then you like create something, you know what I'm saying? Or like a movie that's sci-fi and you see like crazy ass trees, like a new world, and you're like, how did this guy think of a universe that doesn't even exist? Like, and you try to put yourself in his shoes, like, how can I create a universe that doesn't exist? You know what I'm saying? Things like that. It never really was like a recreating kind of thing, but now I guess I am like kind of using the same exact inspo that was in the movie to create something as a photo. But before it wasn't. I mean, none of them are really exactly how the movie is, but you could definitely
It's
tell.
like a variation. You're definitely putting your own spin on it and making it your own. But I noticed I was looking at your Twitter this morning, and I noticed when you were quoting a tweet that said, "Not every single like piece of work has to have a meaning, or an art has to have a meaning." So, do you really think that? Do you believe like like any type of like art that's produced, it doesn't necessarily also have to have like some background meaning to it?
Nah,
Any of your work have any meaning behind it?
for sure.
For sure.
Yeah,
What about, is it most of it, or is it just like?
maybe half and half. Some of them have really deep meaning that I don't even have the guts to talk about because went through some traumatizing shit, and then the next day I came up with a shoot idea that I just like I needed to do something, you know. And then there's other shoots that I literally just get hired for to get paid to come and take pictures, and they don't have really any meaning to me, you know, other than getting paid. But I don't think art needs to have a meaning. First of all, I think everything is art. I think everything man-made is art. Something that comes from somebody's brain. A poem, a book, a chair, a house, a building, a rug, the pattern of the rug, the texture of the rug, the smell of the rug. Like, that was all created by a human. That's art. Anything that's created from a human is art. You know what I'm saying? Some people might like it, some people might not. Just how some people might buy $1 million painting and I'm looking at it like I could have done that myself. You know what I'm saying? To that person, it's worth $1 million. To me, it's not. But everything is art. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you mentioned you just mentioned like some people might not like it and some people may like it. Do you ever experience have you ever experienced some type of like self-doubt when it comes to photography through like the time you've been doing photography, and how did you get over that?
I've never really had self-doubt. Sometimes there's been times that I don't think my work is the best. Like a certain picture is the best that it could have been or whatever, but then for some reason I posted and that's like the most loved one. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you're your worst critic and you think that thing is not the best, but you put it out and the whole world loves it more than what you thought was the best, you know? So, I don't know. Right now, you know, you're your worst critic for sure, so you definitely might not think that is as good as it could be, but self-doubt, I think that anything that I touch now, it's like good, you know? And then before, I guess I had the same type of mentality, but you know, you go through years and then you look back and you're like, damn, I was really kind of trash, but I still believed in myself and I still thought I was the one, you know? So like, I feel like that's key also, to believe in yourself and not have self-doubt. So no, I don't have self-doubt.
Is there any type of message you ever try to put out there?
Yeah. My message is to see what I'm doing. And then like you could do that shit too. Anybody could do it. What I'm doing, where I'm at in life and everything, if you are inspired by me, just know that you could do it too. I'm not special. The only thing that I guess makes me special is that I had a mindset, which was work, rest later. Like I'm young. Right now I have the energy, I have the time, I have everything to work. And then I'll chill when I'm like 35, 40, whatever, you know, I don't know. But right now, like, that's all I like care about and cared about since I started. You know, it was like everyday photography, editing, plotting, calling people, makeup artists, go to a shop to see a prop or whatever. You know, like everything had to do with photography every single day for like 3 years. And then I started like not doing it so consistently.
So what initially got you into photography?
I was working at a music festival as a graphic designer, and I also had a clothing brand. And around the same time, I started both, which the music festival, all the owners and stuff, they would bring me to clubs. I was barely 21. And they would bring me to clubs just to party, but I started seeing that so much crazy shit was going on that I just started taking pictures of it. And I guess that gave me the like rebel kind of raw kind of look or whatever. And then also I had a clothing brand, which is like a clothing brand that I wouldn't sell. It was just for fun. And I started doing like fake promo shots, like fake ads for it. And I started shooting that. And then that was like for practice. And the other one was all like, they were both for practice, you know, like I was practicing, I guess, like different settings, different subjects and stuff like that, you know. And so, I mean, I fell in love with it, and I just never stopped.
You mentioned doing graphic design and like having a clothing brand. Is there anything else you want to do besides photography, or do you just want to stick with that? Because I know a lot of artists, they don't want to keep their hand in like one thing. They want to move around.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to get into directing videos, like music videos, maybe even movies one day, who knows. And I also would like to have like I mean, I guess like I want to do like a podcast, but I just want to be like, I'm underground. I'm still nobody, at least to where I consider myself that I want to be. So, but I am big in the underground, I guess. So what I want to do is like, I kind of want to be like, not the voice of the underground or the face or nothing, you know, but I just want to, I want to show the underground that like we can all fucking go ham and take over type shit, you know, like we got it. We just, a lot of talented ass people just don't know how to go about their, it's more than just being good at what you do. You have to sell your craft. You have to make people want it, like make people spend their money on it, you know? So you always got to think about the people that are going to pay you, you know? And a lot of artists have artist ego, which they don't. They don't give a shit about anybody except for the art that they're creating themselves. And that's not wrong, but these people are going to pay your bills. They're the ones that are going to buy your painting or listen to your song or whatever. So if you're only making music or whatever for you, you're not going to gain an audience and you're never going to blow up, you know? So you got to break the artist ego of creating things just for you and because you like them, whatever. And like, I guess you could say sell out or sell your soul, however you want to call it. Do that shit. Because once you start getting money, then you can do whatever the fuck you want and nobody's going to question it. Until then, you got to do what you got to do for people to like respect you as an artist and whatever. Then from there, you do whatever the fuck you want, you know? I started with shooting my clothing brand and clothing brands and shooting at clubs and parties and festivals. You won't catch me at a club or a festival with my camera, you know? You won't catch me shooting like a small clothing brand or whatever anymore, you know? Like those are things that I just don't do anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So like, but I had to do them. That's what people liked when I first started posting. So I'm like, if I caught somebody in the club throwing up and people liked it, it got way more likes than the other pictures. What does that say? Let me do some more of that. And then I did more of that and people liked it. And I'm like, okay, you know, but then you evolve and you let go of some things that you see are like you could change and then you update with new things, you know?
That's interesting. I was just thinking about, because like some artists, they keep their consistent style, and then they stay underground and they're really known like in this, like in the underground scene they are, and then they go mainstream and they keep that style, and that's what wears them out and that's what kills them. Do you think like constantly evolving and learning new things and perfecting your style and adding new things and taking some out, like is that what keeps like an artist alive?
I'm honestly starting to learn that myself, because I haven't been in the game for too long, but I have been long enough where I could start like falling off or whatever, you know? So I do think that updating is important, but also not lose your style or what you do, I guess your integrity, you know? But definitely I think there needs to be small adjustments to keep up with time. Not like Drake and completely switch up your whole sound based on like what the top 10 rappers are doing the year of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that. It's like, keep doing your thing, keep being original. Originality is always gonna win, you know?
So your family, what does your family think about your style, your photography style?
At first, you know, like, I don't know. At first, I have a Hispanic family and they're like old school and stuff. So to them, it was like a joke. It was never a serious thing until I got a flight to Paris. I got flown out to Paris, and then my dad started believing in me or whatever. So they know I have a style. They're proud. They know that I'm doing my thing, and it's all thanks to them, you know? And that's really what I want to do. I want to make them proud and hopefully, you know, be rich as fuck so I could like have everybody living good in my family and whatever, you know. That's my goal. I don't really care for material things or whatnot, but I know that I need to get paid in order to have all my loved ones living good, worry free, not even have to work one day, hopefully, you know, like things like that.
Did they support your your creativity, your artistry at a young age?
Nah.
Not really, no.
Nah. Literally until that flight to Paris. Even before then, my dad thought I was throwing my life away the whole time. And I would tell him, like, yo, trust me. It's going to take a little time. Just trust me. Give me, like, a little time. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And he did, though. He never was, like, an asshole about it. But I could tell that he didn't really believe in me. Like, he thought that I was throwing my life away, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's one of the craziest, like, photo shoots you ever had? Like, one that really, like, took you back and you were just, like, it really just changed your perspective.
You got to be a sponge in this art shit. That's a sponge to, like, what people tell you. Like, the critics, like, whatever. Like, take it all in. Doesn't mean you have to do it or you have to whatever. But you should listen. You should take notes from anybody that tells you anything. If somebody walks up to your painting and says, that shit's horrible, take that shit for what it is. That person thought it was horrible. To them it was. Discover why it was horrible. Maybe not do it. And then next time, all those, because I'm pretty sure if there was one, there's probably another 100. Then the other 100 are going to like it. You just got new fans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I broke my artist ego a long time ago where I'm okay with creating shit that people think is trash. And if they think it's trash, that's sick. I love that. You know? That's it.
And as an artist, do you think, like, you surround yourselves by other creatives and everything? You have Gary, you have Quinn, you have Enzo, and I'm sure you have a lot more. Do you think it's essential for artists not to be sheltered and surround themselves with other people?
I don't know. To each their own, I guess. But to me, I need to be surrounded by other people, especially artists, because I take most of my inspiration from my peers, not movies, or I would say my peers in music. Definitely find the most inspiration through my peers and who I surround myself with, for sure.
And the environment, does that play a key part in, like, your work? Like, you said you
Literally the life I'm living at the moment. Like, the life I'm living, the people I'm surrounding myself with, the parties I'm going to, the things I'm doing is what influences my photography at the time. My photography, I use it, I get influenced, like, I express what I'm living at the moment, you know?
All right. So this is, like, the last question, basically. But is there anything that, like, you wish you told your, like, your younger self, that you think that would have helped you now?
I wish I could go back to little me in Chile and tell myself, like, bro, you're gonna be good. Just stay strong. It's gonna get hard for a little bit, but you'll be okay. I just so I can relax my old self, my little self that was so angry at God and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it was tough. I had a tough ass life. Yeah, just that. Just to relax my nerves when I was little, you know? I was very anxious and shit.
Well, I appreciate you being open with us in this interview, Xavier. I hope great things for you, and I expect them.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of
Hell
course.
yeah.